Hey everybody, welcome to the episode 3 of the SelectStart podcast. I'm your host Brian, and joining me for the first time in podcast history here on SelectStart is my illustrious co-host Chris. Say hey.
Hey, glad to be here.
All right. Well, I've done just 2 episodes as we've been testing the recording and testing kind of the sound quality and publishing this out to YouTube. So I guess from a podcasting note, we've actually started our own YouTube channel and are working to upload our videos to that. Previously, I was uploading the podcast just to my personal YouTube channel. So I'll be moving those over. And Chris is going to be on the channel. He's going to be posting up videos of his own making. So we're going to be kind of teaming up on making different videos and as it relates to gaming. But so that's pretty much our gaming or our updates on kind of the podcast and what we are doing on YouTube. But we're going to try to have, I guess, more of an official structure with episode 3 and then going forward with shows that we're both on. And so for those of you who are just joining us or listening to us in the future, on future episodes, this should probably seem fairly common, but first segment we're going to talk about kind of what we're playing that will transition into kind of what we're looking forward to playing, probably sticking within the calendar year or at least within 9 months rolling, because it's like I'm looking forward to Final Fantasy 20. Don't ask me why. Of course, at one point I'm going to be listening back to this podcast and I'll be like, man, 20, that was a great game. I'm really looking forward to 25. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, like I said, what we're looking forward to, and then transitioning from that into kind of a main body topic for the show. And today's topic, kind of our main talking point, is talking about what Chris and I have kind of founded and has been going on for coming up on 3 years now. And it's a concept we call GameNight, and it's something we do as a part of being both adult gamers who have jobs and responsibilities as married men who have responsibilities there as well. And what do we do, and how do we also balance that with kind of this work, social life, gaming aspect? But that's going to be our third segment today in the podcast. So to kick us off, I'm going to turn this over to kind of Chris with that question, man. What are you playing? What are you playing right now?
Right now I'm only playing a couple of things. As we'll get into tonight's discussion, it's all about balance. So I kind of keep myself on a little more of a schedule. Oddly, I'm more disciplined with my gaming than I am with diet or working out, or sometimes even my job. This really is quite the priority.
Don't share this at work.
I'm really consistent. I play about the same amount every week. I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14 on Mondays. It's exciting to get that subscription back active again. That's always an eventful process. I have yet to ever just press subscribe and it start working, and that's not Square Enix's fault. It just always seems to turn into this ordeal, as Brian's aware of, because every time he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never seen that error.
For those of you who aren't aware, like I will get a text message at random times going, hey, have you ever seen this error? And it's like, no, I've never seen that error in all of my history of random errors that I've gotten with the game itself.
Yeah, like at one point my PlayStation said I needed to put in the disc and feed it a serial key, but I bought it digitally on that console. So I'm like, you know more than I know. There is no additional information I can give you. And then the next time it was like, it put a freeze on my account because my bank is like, there's no way this guy plays Final Fantasy. And so I couldn't get them money. And it's never Square Enix's fault, but every time I unsubscribe, and it's gotten to the point where my wife we looked at the budget and she said, I'm really just kind of sick and tired of hearing you complain every time you pick this game back up. So why don't you just leave the subscription active for the rest of time? And if you take a couple months off, we just waste the money. But I've been playing that on our actual game night. I've been enjoying a lot of Halo right now. Occasionally dabbling in a bit of the Crew, because it was a beautiful game of the free game of the month. I guess that was last month.
Yeah, if not the month prior, but yeah, it was fantastic.
I wanted to buy it, but I didn't have anybody to play with. It's been worth every penny of free. And then I've been playing Factorio. So for anybody who hasn't,
what's that? I haven't heard of that one.
So Factorio, I got it on Steam. It's basically a factory building game. So you kind of focus on automation and you tech your way through kind of iron and then steel and this science. And you're on this alien planet. And so as you do so, your factory, your landmass starts to put off pollution. And as you expand, you kind of go into the native terrain of the local species. And they build up and they attack you. And they're not too thrilled with you coming in and treating their planet much like we treat ours. So that's pretty enjoyable. And it had breathed. I played it for a while. It's a lot of playthroughs that you enjoy. It's kind of abusive on you, much like a Dwarf Fortress or something. But they just came out with a bunch of mods for it that really got me back in it and really added some depth to the game. So I'd love to do a series on that at some point. And then
I'd like to see more on that one. That sounds pretty interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah. Last but not least, I've been getting back into some tabletop, so I'll leave it in the video game discussion because it is in that world. But I have been playing some Warhammer 40K on Tuesday nights, and that's always everything that sometimes I wish video games could be.
They didn't they just come out with a video game version of Warhammer that was like received rave reviews a couple of months back?
You know, they do. Oh, but they don't come out with the tabletop game. So, you know, I haven't looked in the most recent iteration, but I keep seeing all these Warhammer games come out, and they're always real-time strategies. And that's not the beauty of Warhammer. Warhammer is a turn-based board game. It's Monopoly, it's Risk, it's Settlers, it's a board game. You know, if you need to go get a drink or use the bathroom, it's no big deal. And you have time to think about your moves. So it's no longer balancing clicks per minute with your intelligence. It's just straight strategy. Take your time, no big deal. And that's what I like about it. I have enough games in my life like Halo that add stress to gaming.
It's like I need to play a game to relax from all these other games that I'm playing.
Chest hurt. Watch it.
I guess for me, obviously, like since we play games, like kind of that Monday and Wednesday game night kind of schedule. Outside of that, like I've really been into, I guess, 3 games, and that's Pokemon Go, which has been a lot of fun. And took my family to the beach this weekend, and I was able to like catch just all these Pokemon that have eluded me for so long in the real world. And I was like, it was just fun just to kind of like back to catch all these new Pokemon. And then that's jumped me back into kind of the Pokemon series as an RPG. So I picked up Alpha Sapphire for the 3DS and have been playing through that with real just excitement and been really enjoying it. It seems to be a phenomenal game, and it's it's something that I've been kind of playing in the evenings as the day kind of winds down. And then I picked up I Am Setsuka on the PS4, and I'm really enjoying that. I haven't had that much time to play it though. I've been playing that kind of sitting on the couch with my wife Julie, and we've been enjoying the story and just the art style and the battle system, and just it's a fantastic game. I should do some kind of videos or some kind of discussion on it specifically, but I've been waiting. I want to finish it before I give kind of my final kind of opinion. But if anybody's out there who's listening and hasn't picked it up yet and is a fan of like Chrono Trigger or old school Square Enix RPGs, I would highly recommend it as a buy, namely because of it's a quality game. But if you support it, chances are we're going to get more games of that caliber and of that category. So otherwise, that's kind of outside of the Halo and Final Fantasy, which recently did a playtime on my Final Fantasy game, and I was just like over 122 days. So I am definitely a fan, if not a nerd, of that series and that game specifically. But I also did because on if you ever go and play with your Xbox app on your phone, you can see kind of your achievements and your playtime for various games, and so Halo 5 like officially crossed the most played game night game outside of Final Fantasy for us, for me, about 40 hours ago. So our previous leader was Titanfall for the Game Night crew, and we have since, at least from my numbers and everything, have surpassed it, which has been fantastic. So that's kind of what I'm playing. So I just set the date for anybody listening, which we probably should have done in the intro. We're recording this on August 8th, so not a lot of stuff coming out right now, but we're really about to lead into the 2016 fall season of games. And so that leads us into kind of our second topic or for discussion, which is what are we looking forward to kind of within the next, I guess, year to 9 months. A year might be kind of trying to project it too far out. So what do you got? Like, what do you got on your radar, Chris, for the next 9 months?
I'm gonna be conservative with this section because just in stating the last section, I start to see the world maybe a little more as my wife sees it. I play a lot of games. I guess saying it out loud and kind of listing it off like that makes me realize, because I always feel like, man, I really compromise hard. I mean, I just give up so much for my job, my wife, and here I am listing like, I have 3 nights a week that I primarily focus on some form of game, and I have like 6 different titles I'm split across that I have ridiculous play times on all of them. So this fall, I think Halo, the great Halo, who has done an incredible job coming out with new content to keep us enthralled. I think it's going to have to take a back seat to Titanfall. That's by far been the largest turnout in our game night group on a consistent week-to-week basis. So when a sequel comes out, you have to give that a shot. I've already pre-ordered it. Very excited. And then, honestly, I think there's so many titles. I'm going to kind of wait for the reviews to come in. I'm going to wait for the Let's Plays to start trickling out to make a decision on a second title to pick up. And then it's probably about time for me to add Minecraft back into the mix. I play one series probably once every 6 months or so. Some interesting mod comes out. So it's probably about time for that to make an appearance again.
They've supported Minecraft, and it's just been unbelievable with the updates. And I'm definitely interested in seeing what you bring kind of to that game with any kind of videos or things like that you produce, because so it's like almost kind of this virtual Lego box for building and doing all kinds of things. What's up?
You've never really played it, have you? You've never gotten
no.
big
I've been. People have tried to get me into that game, and not like that it's any disregard to the game, but like you just said, you kind of look at it and you're like, wow, like I do play a lot of different games, and that's awesome. And so my concern with that, and there's been other games that it falls into where it's just like, I don't want to get into it because I don't want to get like addicted to it. I don't need another major game. It's going to occupy my time for a long period of time.
Yeah, I skipped RimWorld for that, for fear that I just wouldn't be able to crawl back out of the rabbit hole.
So for me, it's like I've already got a couple games that I've pre-ordered that I'm excited about. One, I've pre-ordered Final Fantasy 15. It's just something that I'm just a huge fan of the series. I'm really hopeful that this game is going to be great. Haven't been thrilled by the demos in which they've come out with. The first one was really cool and interesting and exciting. The second one I wasn't thrilled with. The platinum demo that's out now. Played through that and like, okay, well, I'm really looking forward to the full game. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about Titanfall 2. I'm excited about Gears of War 4. So those are kind of my big 3. I'm debating on Horizon 3, but it might be something that, again, like I wait for a sale or a deal. And that's going to be a topic that I wanted to bring up later to the show, is that how much does hype actually bring us to purchase a game versus later? Because I saw a great deal on Metal Gear Solid 5 that was it was like I could get it from gold for like $26, and I was like, that's awesome, it's a great price, I want to play that game. But then I'm like, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough of this. Well, you know what, I'm going to hold off. It's definitely going to be a game I pick up, but there is the sense that hype brings you into purchasing something like when it comes out. And so I think that should be a conversation for like a later podcast. But for me, this fall, I've already paid for 15. I have yet to pre-order Titanfall 2 and Gears 4, namely because that's more of a budgetary thing. Like, when do I want to do that? Because like Gears of War 4, for like all the extra content and stuff that I know that I'm going to play through and enjoy because I have for all the previous games, it's like $100, and I'm like, ouch, that's a lot of money. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just get the base, or maybe I'll just wait and save up, my allowance from this month and move it into pre-order it next month. And then also I want to make sure that I've got Titanfall enough money to make sure I can pick up Titanfall 2 when it launches, because it's definitely like from the screens and everything from the videos, it looks incredible. So and then after that, I'm actually more interested in what Nintendo is going to talk about in September, to see if they're going to be able to drag me into buying their next system. I'm hopeful. Like I've had 2 videos talking about it pretty much already. But namely that I'm interested to see what Nintendo is going to bring, and hopefully we'll see that and see some information on that in September. So that's kind of really, that kind of wraps us up for kind of our second segment about what we're excited about. And that is going to bring us to our third and final segment, which is our main topic of the night, and that's game night. And so for those out there who are listening, who have grown up playing video games, have found jobs and have families, and they're trying to balance that. Our kind of main topic is that how do we do that? What strategies do we employ? And one that actually engage you guys who are listening to this, the community. If y'all have thoughts or feedbacks, or how do you balance that? So the two differences between like Chris and I, so we have two different perspectives, is that my wife actually plays games like with us. She joins us on game night for Final Fantasy. We don't have the ability. She would actually play Halo with us if Halo 5 supported local split screen. We don't have multiple Xboxes and TVs to do that. And I would venture that people listening to that are also in that same boat. You're not sitting here with all kinds of consoles and stuff like that. So from our perspective, game night is, for me, family night. We're playing games together, and it happens to also be with a bunch of my friends and my brother and everybody else. So Chris and I, a couple years ago, founded kind of this group, and we actually founded it with Final Fantasy 14 in mind, where because we had people who could play on PS3 and PS4 and PC, it ended up being system agnostic. So it didn't take a lot of coordination in getting people up and going. But Chris, I'm gonna throw it over to you to provide kind of your thoughts on it. I mean, we're almost 3 years in, so it's obviously there is some success there. There's some value there. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I know Brian through, your younger brother was my college roommate. And so in many ways, Game Night's made me closer to you than him, just through constant exposure. It's been every week. He's been able to come a lot. You and I have been pretty consistent members. Both my brothers have been in and out. I mean, we've really had a fair number of guys go through it. It's mostly guys. We do have a handful of women that join in, and I'm kind of the opposite spectrum. It's interesting to talk about kind of gamers that have, you have this whole generation now since games came out and kind of the really hitting their stride in the 80s. That means you now have this whole stage of people who have hit the job force, that the gaming was a significant part of growing up and was always something you wanted to do. So I'm kind of on the opposite end. Brian, well, you do have a wife that plays. You guys also have a kid. And so in some ways you're able to game more than me because your wife is very sympathetic because she wants to join you in that. I don't have a wife to play, but I don't have kids. So you talk about kind of having multiple consoles. I own like 7 or 9 consoles or something just silly. I have my own dedicated bedroom to just video games because I don't have that selflessness, I guess, built into my marriage. I can kind of be a little sillier with my money when you put it in perspective. So it's interesting to see game night and how it kind of affects each of us. And it's interesting as kind of a concept, because as you become an adult and you get these responsibilities, you realize if at 10 o'clock at night I want to drive to the store and I want to buy cookies and I want to come home and I want to bake cookies and then I want to stay up and watch Lord of the Rings until 4 in the morning and eat cookies, nobody's stopping me. I could do it for dinner. I mean, they say you're going to spoil your dinner, but I mean, you kind of realize at some point, there's another one tomorrow. It's not like I'm running out of dinners that I'm going to eat. So you kind of can do the same thing with games. And so Game Night's kind of got a couple of interesting parts to it. And I think the first point that I'm really most excited about is that it's something to look forward to. And I mean that in a couple of ways. First of all, it's something to look forward to every week. You can have a crappy week at work and Game Night's coming. And so it's definitely something to look forward to. It also helps you look forward to like that next title. It's also like a really nice balance and something to look forward to like this fall. Like I can look forward to the next game, and we have people of different budgets within our Game Night, and everybody in our Game Night can afford to come up with a new $60 one or two times a year and a new console once every 5 years. We can all make that pledge, and it gives us kind of something that we can do as a group and everybody can actually do. So I don't know how you kind of feel on that subject, if it really just makes your week. But no, it's absolutely my favorite
bring up
thing.
the concept of something to look forward to. It's like I remember back in college and in years after, like Monday night was exciting because 24, there was a new episode of 24, and in college, like when it was coming out, I remember a bunch of us guys would get together and go and watch that together and have that reaction and have that shared experience. So it didn't mean like, oh, it's Monday. It's like, oh no, there's something to look forward to on that day. And so taking that into kind of into this aspect, I would say is that one of the hardest things about transitioning into the workforce and being an adult that no one ever kind of gave me a heads up on is that it's really difficult to make friends. I mean, so you bring up, yes, I have a daughter and I have a wife, and my wife is very sympathetic to my hobbies and everything like that, which is great. But the challenge also then is that, okay, well, you need to make sure you take that priority of time. And what ends up happening, and I see it happening in a lot of adults, especially adult males, is that friendships and all and those things can kind of almost take a back seat, and they do, and it's a natural thing, and it's actually what could be argued to be a good thing. It's like you should prioritize your wife and your family first, and that means responsibilities. But what it has done, and the good thing is it helps me to continue those various bonds with new friends and even old friends. Like, so we were just helping my friend Mark out in Final Fantasy, and he and I great college buds, and we try to stay in contact, and there's an effort there. Like, we both make an effort. He even called me today and we chatted just on what's going on and everything like that outside of games. But I was like, well, what is the shared experience we can have where we can have this activity, and he's many states away from me? What makes sense? And I was like, well, there's games. And it's like, okay, what kind of game makes sense for us to play? And we're both fans of Final Fantasy, so I was like, hey, here's a $15 copy of A Realm Reborn for your PS3 because you have that ability. Let's play it together. And I think it's allowed us to continue to grow closer, even though he's got kids and a family and he lives states away. So it's that way that we can set time aside and together. And it's important, I guess, and it's for anybody who's listening who might want to take this idea and take it into their own life, is that it's that time is a set time, and it's agreed upon by the spouse, and that it makes sure that it doesn't conflict with like real world responsibilities. Because I would say and make the argument, especially when in the workforce, your priority should be God, your family, and then work. And so when it's in that order, you have a good balance. And so when games are involved, et cetera, is that you take care of your family and then you play, and you can play some games. And how it would relate in this case is that if your wife's on board, setting up an evening once a week or once every 2 weeks or whatever works that makes sense, it allows, I think it helps with that relationship, and so that nothing gets planned or scheduled on that. It becomes just like any other thing that you would kind of set time up for. And so that way it's not like you're trying to always run away and get into a game and separate yourself from the family, but rather that you're saying, hey, we're going to do all these things. And if there's a way that we could set Thursday night from 8 to 11, and I'm going to get on. And that way, from your friends and any of your old college friends, men, women, children, whoever, but it becomes that it's like, hey, on this day, this is something that if we're available, we're going to do. And so I think that's the other thing that kind of makes game night successful, is that we've had nights where we've had just huge turnouts, and then we've had nights where it could be just a handful of people. And that's the concept, is that it's not this required. I mean, we're not hardcore people who have to show up every night to try to beat this raid anymore. But what we are is that people who enjoy this hobby and enjoy talking about games and playing them with each other. And so setting that time aside becomes something that, of that routine that is established, and then it becomes well accepted among all spouses, whether they play games or they don't. And so that it ended up being sometimes when we were doing Halo and Julie couldn't play, she was like, oh, well, I'm going to go hang out with some of my other friends over here, or I'm going to go to this talk that someone's giving at this place, just because it's like, oh, well, Maddie's going to be asleep at that time, so that works out real well. And so it's really kind of been a good balance that we've struck with that, and I think that's kind of the important thing. But I would recommend it. So if there's guys out there who are listening to this, or girls out there, in any relationship, it obviously is key about communication and being open and honest. But if you're wanting to have some kind of shared experience, video games, I think, are an excellent source for those various shared experiences that you can have with friends, and even new friends alike. Because I know we've made some new friends through this process as well, which has been fantastic.
Yeah, at one point we were literally spanning East Coast to West Coast here, in the whole U.S. So, yeah. The social benefit's been fantastic to keep in touch with people from college and meet their friends and kind of expand your circle. And it's one of the hard things about being an adult. It's sometimes you always feel like that nerd looking in sometimes. I look out there and I see these people with their friends and their family and stuff, and here I am with my little 40K guys, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go play with miniature army men. And so it's just nice to kind of be able to connect with, you always hear, oh, well, 10 million copies of this game sold. It's like, well, there's no way they were all 14, and there's bound to be some of them that are definitely in the same stage as me. And I get along with gamers of pretty much any age group, but it's also nice to meet people that are kind of going through the same things as you, and understand that I can't put in 50 hours in a week anymore. I can play a lot of games a couple hours a week, but I can't earn DKP anymore. I just can't do it.
More dots.
It's just
stop dots.
I try. It's a fair priority. It is. It's a fair thing to say, this is important to me, and I know that I got enough of it in this week, and I know that because I played on the scheduled game night, so even if I don't get to play at all the rest of the week, I got family in town, then I got to take care of the yard and all this other stuff, chores, what have you. I know that I got to play, and even at work, I work in an industry where I'm responsible to customers, and I work a lot of hours, and these customers, they directly interact with me through my cell phone all the time. And honestly, I tell them about game night. I tell them, and they don't. A lot of them don't understand it. They're like, "Why do you play video games? Why do people do that?" Because they're typically older than me. And my mother-in-law was like, "Why do you do this? We used to sit around and play board games." And I was like, "Yes, and that's still what we're doing. But my brothers all live in different cities, and that's what this allows for." Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing. We're piling around a fire across the country one night a week to just talk about our lives and shoot some people in the face.
Exactly. No, it's a great point. It's that we're all gamers. Board games, card games. It's I think as a culture and as a society, it's a part of it, and it's exciting to see. And you're right. It becomes this method in which that we were able to be so global and really connect with people who we probably would only see maybe on holidays and things like that. But anyway, that's kind of our discussion regarding our what we do and what we've established. And so we would highly recommend anybody out there, if they're in the same kind of boat or find themselves in the same kind of boat, maybe thinking about that and establishing that for themselves. If you guys out there do anything, something similar, or even if you have a different take on it, I'd love to hear from you. Please, feel free to post in the if there's a comment section anywhere that you're listening to this below. We'll be sure to check that out. Or you can always email us at work2gamevideos@gmail.com. So that's what we've got set up, and actually that's the channel that we've created on YouTube. So we'll be posting this on the iTunes and the SoundClouds and on the YouTubes out there. So please feel free to like, share, leave us a comment, subscribe, all that social media end tag mumbo jumbo that you've probably heard a billion times.
And let us.
What's up?
Let us know what you'd like us. Let us know what you'd like us to talk about. We're going to get into these main discussions, and we'll probably start branching out away from things that we maybe know a lot about, and starting to kind of delve into some new topics and go do the research and kind of process things like you've been talking about the Nintendo and all that, and just kind of delving into that each week. So, what was that email again?
That's work2gamevideos@gmail.com. So it's actually spelled out too. So work2gamevideos@gmail.com. And so the channel is Work2Game, which is going to be what we are going to be posting all this stuff on. So we're people who work, people who play games, or people who make podcasts and all kinds of silly stuff. So I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time and listening to it. If you're still listening at this point, I thank you again. We'll be posting regular scheduled podcasts on various topics, as well as other videos on our YouTube channel. So please look forward to that. We've got lots of learning to do about it. So we're very excited to continue to do all these things. We've got an interesting set of skills. I almost want to go into the take-in line, but I won't. I'll save everybody from that horrible joke that I would make. Anyway, so I'm going to wrap this show up on that note. Thanks again for tuning in, and have a fantastic week. And clicky clicky.